What's going on, y'all? This is Chris, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. We're going to be making chickpeas and egg whites. So I'm going to be answering some questions that I know that I'm going to be asked after I post this video. So I am using dry chickpeas. That is a lot less sodium than using canned chickpeas. So if you want to take the route of using a lot less sodium, I suggest you use dry chickpeas. So what you're going to do is you're going to put your chickpeas in a bowl. You're going to fill that bowl up with water. You're going to cover it, and then you're going to set it up in the fridge overnight. If you're looking for a healthy, delicious, kidney-friendly meal, I suggest you implement this in your diet. This is something that worked for me. Again, this meal is high in protein because of the chickpeas and the egg whites. And that's something that I wanted to talk to you guys about, was about the restrictions that you have. Make sure that you know your numbers and you stay well below. I stressed that in my last video, but I got to keep on stressing it because I keep on getting people asking me about my potassium, about the phosphorus that's in the food. And if we know our limits, then we can stay well below it. So make sure you know your numbers. Make sure you know where you need to be. And I also want to express again my appreciation for everybody out there that's watching my videos. I would not be doing this without y'all. You guys give me all the motivation to keep going. So I just want to say shout out to you guys out there. Thank you. All right, y'all ready? Let's get it. All right, y'all, we're going to start with our chickpeas. These chickpeas were soaked overnight in a bowl of water. And we're going to take a cup of chickpeas and we're going to put it in a pot of water. We're going to bring it to a boil and then we're going to let it simmer. We're going to let it simmer for about an hour and a half to 2 hours. You could also throw a bay leaf in there or a few cloves of garlic in there for flavor. All right, so make sure that you put a top on it and let that simmer. So while that simmers, we're going to get our veggies. We're going to get our green onions, zucchini, red bell pepper, onions, thyme, spinach, garlic, 2, 3 garlic, maybe even 4. Y'all know I love my garlic. And then we're going to get our lemon. All right, so we're going to dice our garlic. You want to dice it up nice and fine. I like to chop it up really, really nice and small pieces. Now time for our red bell pepper, packed with antioxidants, known to lower the blood pressure. It's always a win with red bell pepper. Then we're going to go with our green onions, and then we're going to chop up our zucchini. Oh yeah, y'all, we're going in today. Next is going to be your onions. And then we're going to get our thyme, and after our thyme, we're going to get our spinach. So with the spinach, make sure you find out your oxalate and your potassium restrictions and stay well below. So if you can't have any oxalates or potassium, skip out this part. I ate this because of the other benefits it had. I just stayed under my restrictions. Now we're going to start with our veggies. We're going to fry our veggies in a skillet. You're going to put some extra virgin olive oil on a skillet and you're going to coat the skillet with it. Then we're going to add our onions, then our green onions, and then you're going to add your zucchinis, red bell pepper, and then we're going to scramble that in there. And then we're going to let that cook for a good 7 to 10 minutes on medium. And also make sure that you're stirring your veggies consistently because you don't want it to stick over to the skillet. Okay, so in the meantime, we're going to check on our chickpeas. And this is how you check to see if your chickpeas are ready. You will take a few and you will put it on a plate. And then I want you to smush down with your fork and see how soft it is. And you can even taste it too. So as you can see, these look ready. They're nice and smooth and they're smushing real easy. So it looks like these are done. So now we're going to go back over to our veggies and we're going to start with our eggs now. So when you start with your eggs, make sure you put your skillet on low. All right, so after you put it on low, you're going to coat the side that you're going to make the eggs on with butter. All right, so now we're going to get our eggs. Now this takes a little bit of skill and a little bit of technique. So feel free to use a carton of egg whites. So as you can see, I have to wedge the egg yolk and the egg whites from each half of the egg shell. So feel free to use a carton if you can't do this part because as you can see, like I said, it does take a little bit of skill, a little bit of technique, and it might take you a minute if it's your first time. So if you use a carton, use 2/3 of cup because I'm using 5 eggs. So that equates to 2/3 cups in a carton. And that's also 18 grams of protein. And then we're going to season our veggies with chili powder, a little bit of paprika, and then we're going to add a little bit of ground cumin. And then we're definitely going to add a little bit of pepper in there. And then for our sodium, a little bit of sodium, a pinch of sodium, please. Literally a pinch. All right, so after we add all that in there, we're going to scramble it all in there. And we're going to add the spinach for the last 3 minutes of the cooking process. Remember, make sure you know your potassium limits and you want to stay well below it. Skip this part if you are not supposed to be eating potassium, please. And then we're going to add our garlic. Remember, add your garlic at the end of the cooking process, please. And then we're going to add our thyme. Squeeze us some lemon juice. You could take a half a lemon for this. All right, y'all. And we're about done. You're going to scramble all that in there for about 1 minute. And then you're going to be done. All right, y'all. There you have it. Chickpeas and egg white stir fry. This is a specialty. You can also add raw honey, of course, or 100% maple syrup. If you add 100% maple syrup, add about 1 to 2 tablespoons. And enjoy. Yeah, y'all, this is probably one of my favorite recipes that I've made. And this is something that I'm eating now and something I ate when I was on dialysis. And now for a taste test from my oldest son. Like I said, I've been struggling trying to get him to eat healthy, but he's definitely starting to come along, being that he is trying out the food and he's actually liking it. So he approved. So that's a good thing. He don't know he's one step closer to great health. So that's my chickpeas and egg white meal that I used to make. Watch out for the spinach. If you're on dialysis or if you have potassium restrictions, make sure you limit the spinach. Now, if you can't have no potassium, then don't put no spinach in there. Don't put anything in there that has potassium. That's another reason why I say we have to do our own research. Because if we don't do our own research, we won't know exactly how much we're getting in. And that's why I say you have to be your own chef. Because if you're eating out, you don't know what they're putting in your food. You don't know how much phosphorus is in there, potassium, oxalates, all that. Sodium, you don't know nothing. I hope that helps. If you enjoyed the video, I definitely hope that you enjoyed the food. These are all the things that helped me out in my journey, and I'm hoping that it helps you out. Until next time, let's keep applying this pressure. Let's get it.